You're going to use the squishy ball. This is sometimes called a Pilates ball, sometimes called a Coregeous ball. And we'll start by finding a little bit of a release for the fascia and the skin of the pectorals. So we'll do some rolling on the mat with our chest, but I want you just to see how it feels from a seated position first, especially if you're new to this one. This prop is a little bit sticky, so some folks like having it directly on skin. Other folks would prefer to put a towel over top. So you decide. You can keep it on top over your shirt, or you can pull part of your shirt away and press it directly on the skin. We're taking the tune-up ball, or the squishy ball right underneath your right collarbone in the front of the chest. And you can take both palms to this area, press it down. This does work better skin on skin because it'll create a little twisting action. I recognize that that's not always possible. So push down and then start to twist the tune-up ball or the squishy ball. Just twist it left, twist it right. You'll feel your skin moving a little bit. Yeah, kind of a weird sensation. What happens when we have chronically shortened muscles? So we have chronically shortened pecs, a lot of us, from this forward rounding posture. The muscles have become stuck or used to being in this shortened position, so they'll default to that shorter shape. That means that fascia sometimes gets caught in that shortening and gets stuck in and amongst the muscle tissues. The layers get stuck to each other. So this is basically like if you had a whole stack of paper and you're just shuffling them to try to get them all unstuck from each other because you spilled water on them and they dried and now they're weird. Is that a helpful metaphor? That's what we're doing here. Just trying to pull apart the sheets of paper, except the paper is our connective tissue. So this is option one. You can hang out here in this position, or you can come down onto your chest. We're going to do exactly the same thing. We'll take the tune-up or the squishy ball underneath the right collarbone, coming down onto your mat. You can use your left hand in whatever way supports you. So I'm just going to take it, kind of bend in the elbow, use it to brace my chest a little bit, and take your right arm out to the side. You can also do this one against a wall. That's a nice way to do it if you don't want to lie all the way down on the ground. You can be a little bit higher up with this, especially if it feels kind of uncomfortable in the chest. You can roll up a little higher on the ball. It's okay if it's over the collarbone. It's okay if it is over the shoulder and armpit area. Plant your right hand on the ground, left hand on the ground, sorry. And we'll just float that right palm away from the earth and start to draw those snow angel wings. So I'm shimmying that arm up and down, creating again that same mobility, my skin moving against this prop. If you're like, this sucks, this doesn't feel good for me, that's okay. You can switch this out and put your tune-up balls in exactly the same position. With left hand on the ground, left elbow points up to the ceiling. We'll start to roll ever so gently towards that right shoulder. So push into your left hand, left hip lifts, and I'm just rolling into the squishy ball, pressing my right shoulder down into it, and then rolling left hip back down. We'll do that just a few times. Deep breath in. Exhale, push into the left arm. The cat is currently gnawing my right hand. We'll roll over to the right shoulder, push the right shoulder down, and then relax left hip down. Breathe in. Exhale, press, gentle roll, and back down. Nice. Plant both arms on the ground. Push, lift your chest a little bit. We're going to move the tune-up ball underneath the center of our chest. So we're taking it over the sternum, at the base of the neck, right about here. Again, boobs are down here. It's up a little higher. Okay? If you try it and it sucks, it's okay. You do not have to do it. If it feels crunchy in your lower back, that's okay. Come out of it. This is, again, just a way to apply pressure to the connective tissues. I've got my arms out in this little kind of cactus shape on either side, almost like I'm going to lift up into cobra, but they're a little bit wider than that. You do not have to move at all if you're here. The skin on the front of our chest is quite thin, so we're not going to twist and manipulate too much, but I want you to notice your breath. Breathe in. Feel your chest pushing into the prop, and breathe out. Relax into the prop a little more. Using this prop on the chest, on various parts of the chest, can really help us tune into our breath and build a sense of breath capacity. So being able to breathe more freely and more deeply. I actually taught pec rolling in a class last night, and one of my students told me afterwards, she said, I feel like I can breathe better. And one of the reasons that we get that sensation is because when this fascia and these muscles around the rib cage are tight, your rib cage shifts when you breathe. So if those muscles are tight, the rib cage can't shift as much. Your lungs are inflating, but they can only go so far. So when we have tight fascia, it's as if you can't breathe to your 100% maximum capacity. So even if we just hang out here and breathe, you can feel your skin pulling against the prop. Breathe out. You can feel it relaxing against the prop. That's creating that little bit of extra space of ease, of increased fluidity between layers of tissues that will allow us to breathe better. So you could stay right here working on that. Or press your hands into the ground, push into your elbows, find a little lift of your chest like you are coming up into cobra. Look forward, deep breath in. And then exhale, roll down onto the ball. So chest rolls down. You might even tuck your chin towards the ball. 2 more like that. Inhale, push into the hands. You might wiggle forward a little bit so you roll up the ball a teeny bit. And then relax it down. If you're like, I have no idea if I'm doing this right or not, that's okay. We'll layer in these practices. We'll repeat them time after time. One more time, lift with your breath. And with familiarity, you'll learn what works for you. What does your body actually enjoy? What feels like complete and utter agony? Option to stay right here in stillness, or just to find a little left and right shift. So I'm going to press the right collarbone down into the prop, look slightly to the left. Push the left collarbone into the prop, look slightly to the right. And shift, go slow, one side to the other. You can rotate the neck. Sometimes when we rotate the neck while compressing the skin of the chest, we can feel a little sensation of stretch, of lengthening. Nice and slow. Breathe. Next time you look over to the right, pause. Press down with the left shoulder. Big breath in. And just like we did when we were looking forward, I want you to think about lifting your chest like you're coming into a cobra. So just pull your chin up, but we're looking to the right. And then relax the chest down, tuck the chin towards the ball ever so slightly. We'll do that 2 more times with our breath. Inhale, pull your chest up. Exhale, relax it down. Inhale, sliding up the prop ever so slightly. Exhale, relax it down. And then press into your right shoulder, right collarbone, look to the left. Same thing, hang out in stillness. Or inhale, little lift of the chin and lower. Push into your forearms, little lift of the chest and lower. We are gently rolling up and down the ball. 1 more time, little lift and lower, and come back to center. Look down to your mat, both collarbones pressing evenly. Take a big breath in and let it go. Press into your palms and then roll slightly towards the right shoulder. We'll tuck the the squishy ball underneath the left shoulder. So we're switching sides. Again, you can find that placement. I am equally on the armpit area, the center or the middle of my chest, just underneath the collarbone, just above my boob. Our anatomy will dictate whether or not this feels comfortable, whether this is doable in our bodies. So if you're like, I'm just not finding a spot that works for me, that's okay. You could always switch it out with a smaller massage ball. Or you could find the mobility exercises on your belly without the addition of extra pressure. Again, we'll start in stillness. Use your breath. Big breath in. Exhale. Let the left shoulder be really heavy. Stay, or float that left hand away from the floor. And we'll start to, I'm just sliding that arm up and down like this. I'll show with my right arm because you can see that better. Like I'm drawing a snow angel wing. I want you to move slowly. Your right elbow or right forearm can be on the ground if that helps support your chest. Or you can relax forehead to the fist or the floor if that feels better. This can feel icky in a different way than rolling with smaller props or foam rollers can feel. The tactile, the tacky sensation of this prop is part of what makes it efficacious. But especially if you've got like a sensory thing where certain sensations on the skin feel gross, this might be one of those. So if that's you, know that there's lots of other tools out there you can use for similar exercises. And it's okay if this isn't one that you want to use in your practice. Can you go 50% slower with those snow angel wings? We'll take a big breath in and let the left hand rest down. Option to head into that little side to side motion. We plant right hand on the ground, elbow is up to the ceiling. We're using this to push, roll the right hip, the right shoulder away as we lean over to the left. And then relax the torso down. Big breath in. Push, gently roll. Relax the torso down. Let's do 2 more. Exhale, press, gently roll. Inhale down. One more time, press, gently roll. Inhale down. Plant both hands on the ground, and we'll press our way back up to a seat. Cross-legged or kneeling, what feels good? If staying on your belly or on your back feels better, do that. Can you close the eyes down and just breathe? Notice how the front of your chest feels. Let it go. Think about lifting the rib cage as you breathe in. And let it go. Does that very action of breath feel a little more smooth or a little more full? It might not. Take your arms out wide. And once again, turn your thumbs down. Pull the shoulders in a little. That's our pecs contracting. Then turn your thumbs up, pull the arms wide. That's your pecs lengthening. Does this feel a little smoother? One more time, thumbs down, roll forward. And then it did when we approached this movement earlier in class. And back. One more time, forward. And back. Notice how range of motion or ease of motion feels. Let the arms come down. You can roll the shoulders out. And we'll find one last exercise with our squishy ball on our back. When we breathe in 3 dimensions. We breathe low into the torso, and we focused on that at the beginning of class. But we also breathe into the back body. Our ribs inflate forwards, sideways, and back. Maybe next week we'll do the sides, but today we'll squeeze in the back. So we'll take the squishy ball, and you're finding instead of the low back, you're taking it up to between your shoulder blades. In this shape, especially if you have a lot of inflation, it can be nice to have a block or a pillow underneath your head. I'm coming down onto my squishy ball and then relaxing. Head can either hang back. Some people do not like that degree of back bend. So if you don't, slide a pillow or a block underneath your head. This one can feel kind of uncomfortable. Use your elbows out left and right to brace you. Feet can be planted or legs long, whatever feels more secure. Close the eyes if that feels okay. And relax down into the prop. Let the back get heavy. The squishy ball might be pushing your shoulder blades a little higher. That's okay. If shoulders are hunching up to ears, this time we'll leave them. Let the jaw relax. Deep, full breath in. Let it go. Just like we found on the front, where we press one collarbone down and then the other, I want you to think about pressing one shoulder blade down and the other. So push into the right shoulder. You'll roll slightly to the right. Push into the left shoulder. And just shift. Again, we're pulling on the layers of skin, of connective tissue, wiggling it out to help increase mobility between all these little layers. You can get really weird with this. You can let the whole torso kind of wiggle. Whee! Oh, this is fun. I just started to shimmy my shoulders, like hike one shoulder up to the ear and then the other. Almost like I'm drawing, like taking alternate shrugs. This is an intuitive practice, especially in this area. With this prop, you can't do a lot of damage to your body. So feel free to get a little rogue with it to move in a way that feels good, but isn't necessarily something I'm telling you. So our pecs tend to be short because our shoulders roll forward. When your shoulder blades pull apart, they are stretching those rhomboids, the muscles we target in so much of our strength work. It's kind of confusing that the same motions can be beneficial both for overly long muscles and overly short muscles. But that's the cool thing about myofascial release. Yes, so there's 7 techniques, and there are some techniques that are better for short muscles and some techniques that are better for long muscles. But in general, the effects of increased hydration, of breaking adhesions between layers of skin and tissue and fascia, all of that we get from any myofascial release technique. So I'm not too fussed about how you're moving here. We're not looking to get the most therapeutic benefit. We're just looking to establish a practice that we show up for week after week, so that in general, our muscles just feel more prepared to move within our body. If you're finding any of those weird little wiggles, stop. An option here, you can cross your hands over your chest. You can hold on to opposite shoulders, like that variation of eagle arms we sometimes take. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, give yourself a big squeeze. Can you lift the head? Roll higher on your shoulders. Look towards your knees. And then relax it all down. Head comes down to blocker the earth. Deep breath in. Exhale, give yourself a squeeze. Roll it up. And relax it down. Roll it up. So I mentioned different techniques. This is called stripping. Tee. We're rolling in the same direction that these muscle fibers run, up and down. And this does help create more length in tight muscles. Roll it up. And down. And one more time. Take it up. And release it down. Arms can rest by your sides, or you can take hands to the belly and focus on the breath. Can you relax the muscles of your face? Can you notice how inspiration, that action of breath, feels? Does it feel easy? Does it feel resisted because you have a big prop pressing against your back? This closing the eyes, this taking the time to notice, that is the practice of yoga. Building that awareness, not just of what our external senses are telling us, but of this deeper inward-looking sense. This awareness of how breath moves through our body, how specific parts of your body respond to different stimuli. If we want to gain more control, more emotional regulation, more ability to move our body through space with ease, we have to notice what our defaults are, what our habits are, and then we can start to change. But you can't do that work without that initial data gathering. So think about that right now. Can you feel your breath landing more in the front of the chest or the back? How did your body respond to this work? Did it feel good? Was it frustrating? Was it just weird? All valid. What do you notice? Press your elbows down to the earth, and we'll help ourselves up to a seat. If it's easier to flop over off the ball to one side, you can do that. We'll come back to the seated position. Resist the urge to wiggle out the spine. Just pause for a moment. Can we notice the shoulder blades on the back and how they sit? Can you send breath into the back of the body? Breathe in and out. Does it feel maybe just a little bit more full? We'll close with just a few movements of our spine. Inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale, left hand, right knee, right hand plants behind. Get tall through your spine. Can you find a little more height after all that rolling work? Rotate a little bit more. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, plant them outside your left thigh. Push the earth away. Feel that space between the shoulder blades stretching. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, twist. Right hand, left knee. Sit up tall. One more breath. Arms sweep up and overhead. Plant the hands outside the right thigh. Push into the earth. You might tuck your chin a little bit. Find length through the cervical spine, the neck. Breathe in. And walk the hands back to center. We'll find seated cat and cow one last time. Can you breathe in, pull the chest forward, pull the shoulder blades down the back, lift the chin. Notice how easy this feels. Tuck the chin around the spine. You can really lean back. Picture those vertebrae pulling apart. An option, one more with your breath. Inhale, take it forward. Exhale, take it back. Inhale back to a neutral position. And sigh it out. Sitting up nice and tall. Thank you all so much for starting your day with me, for your willingness to maybe try something new, and for your dedication showing up week after week, moment after moment. I hope you have a joyful rest of your day, and we will see you again soon. Thank you.